Dr. Andrew Gorecki here, physical therapist. If you've been thinking about adding RTM to your practice, or if you've already done it, I want to talk to you about the thing that scares most practice owners the most, and that's the dreaded word audits, right? I've had this conversation with dozens of PT practice owners, and without fail, somewhere in the conversation, this comes up, right? Well, what if I get audited? Are you going to be there to help me? What do I do? And I totally get it. The thought of an insurance company coming in and demanding documentation, it's terrifying, right? And if you've been in practice long enough, this has happened to you. And so you do everything you can to avoid it, right? The fear of claims being denied, money being clawed back, accusations of billing errors. I totally understand the fear because I've had that too, right? And then we got audited and we've gone through that several times over the last 16 years. And 2 years ago, Blue Cross Blue Shield, selected our practice for an RTM audit, and it was actually during the first 12 months of RTM, so we were nervous, right? They requested documentation for 25 randomly selected patients, and I won't pretend like I wasn't nervous, right? But let me tell you what happened, right? We passed with flying colors, and every document that they asked for, we had it. Every note, every engagement log, every consent form, every time there was, any record of anything that happened that was clean, it was organized, it was time stamped, and they didn't find a single problem. And I'm really proud of that because we've started this company with compliance as one of our core values. But then when we went through this, something really unexpected happened. Blue Cross was so impressed with our, documentation and our processes regarding an understanding of RTM that they asked us to help train their auditors, right, on what good RTM documentation looks like because it's so new that they admitted they didn't know about these unique behaviors of the CPT codes and the documentation requirements. So let that sink in for a second. The insurance company that audited us actually used us, asked us to help them explain how it should be done, which I think is pretty cool. That didn't happen by accident, right? That happened because we built, the right system from day one. And we knew exactly what auditors look for because we're practice owners. We've been in private practice for 16 years, and we've documented everything that they've ever wanted to see, and we made it systematic so it happened automatically in our software. Not just like when we remembered to do it, but our software is built to remember and log everything that happens. Everything that allows a code to be eligible for RTM, it's in there, right? So let me tell you what the auditors are actually looking for because, when you know what they want, it stops being like scary, I guess. At least it is for me, right? So they want to see that, there was proper patient consent, and that could be verbal, digital, or written. It needs to be documented, time-stamped, and signed, right? So they want to see that your patient's actually engaged with the program as well. And so it used to be 16 days of data per month. Now it's 2 days of data transmission, but it has to be there, not estimated. It has to be documented from the platform that happened. And they want to see monitoring time. So if your provider's, logging time, they want to see what that is, what they did during that time. They want to see that someone on your team or a qualified remote provider was actually reviewing the patient data, like a licensed provider, and spending time each month on that monitoring. They want to see the notes or the documentation that in the software that reflects what happened. They want to see that the monitoring resulted in clinical, actual clinical documentation. And that's really it, right? That's the list. And so none of those things are hard, right? None of them require extra clinical work. They just require a system or a software that captures that automatically. And that is what we built our software around. And so MovementRx has that built in. It's not something you have to, we even give you training on what has to happen in your plan of care and your progress notes from the beginning. So I built this checklist because I wanted every practice owner to have exactly what we use to pass our audit. And it covers everything from patient enrollment, what you need to document the first time a patient enters your RTM program. So that's going to be in your normal documentation on the plan of care, the evaluation, and what you have to put in your progress notes. It covers monthly billing requirements, what needs to be in place for you to bill each CPT code. There are rules, right? And you have to have those rules easily accessible, and the software does that for you. It even includes a sample documentation, that helps you with your plan of cares and your progress notes so that you can use ours word for word so that you know that you're covered. And it covers what to do if and when you get audited, like, so step by step, so you never are scrambling. And this is the exact same documentation framework that we used when we had this happen to us, the same one that Blue Cross Blue Shield asked or ended up using to train their own audit team, right? So I'm sharing that with you, and it's totally free. I just want to be helpful. I just want to help you succeed in this and not be afraid of this new opportunity that we have in the rehabilitation space. So if you're already doing RTM, you should download this right now. You should compare it against whatever you're currently using as far as the software goes, and make sure that you're not just missing, they're not just missing this information, right? And if you're thinking about adding RTM, but compliance is what's holding you back, this is also something that I think will show you exactly what compliance looks like and in real practice, not just, make believe. And it's not complicated. It's just a checklist. So if you're evaluating RTM, vendors and wondering, how MovementRx handles compliance, this is the window really into how we handle it and how we think about it. And again, I'm giving it to you for free. So it's documentation and audit. Readiness aren't, they're not an afterthought for us. They're built into everything we do. And so we want to share that with you and hopefully help you with whatever you're doing out there as far as RTM goes. And audits won't be scary if you're doing the right things, right? And so this checklist shows you, what right looks like. It's free. The link is in the description of this video. My name is Dr. Andrew Grecky. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I'll see you next time.